some good stretches that I like to use either pre-WOD, post-WOD, or sometimes when things just feel really tight. These stretches are going to include a foam roller today, and then a lacrosse ball, or I like to use my sidekick to a flux. Either one. The flux is a little bit bigger, so it mimics more like a softball. If you don't have a lacrosse ball, but you have a softball, that will work too. Let's start with our foam roller. So we can do a lot with this guy. The first thing we're gonna do, especially right now, I think a lot of people are doing more running than we're used to just because the weather's nice, we can't get into the gym, and we're trying to burn calories other ways. So a lot of running, a lot of jump roping, practicing our double unders, jumping jacks, things like that. So we definitely don't wanna neglect our calves. So let's start with the calf roll. So for the calf roll, I'm just gonna put the foam roller right above my ankle. And then from here, I'm just gonna kind of lift my hips and I'm gonna roll up all the way towards my knee and then rolling back. I like to do about 50 passes, forward and backwards, or I would just start my GoWOD app, hit start, and then I would roll for about 1 minute per leg. The other thing I like to do when I'm rolling my calf is I like to go straight up and down the middle of the belly, and then I like to bring my toe pointed out, rolling the outside of my calf for about 20 passes, and then I'll take my toe in and roll the inside of my calf. Depending on if you have a neutral stride, if you pronate, however you kind of tend to run, you may be way more sore on the outside or the inside. For me, the inside is always where I experience problems. But about a minute per leg, so then I would switch legs, same thing, start up the middle, roll the inside, roll the outside, and then you're good with your calves. The next one, so once I've done my calf, I like to just make my way up my leg. I'm gonna go into my hamstring. Same thing with the hamstring, there's different parts of the hamstring and we wanna make sure we hit all of them. So I always start with the foam roller right behind my knee, not directly behind it, just about an inch up where the hamstring starts, and then I'm gonna roll all the way up to where it attaches into my pelvis, and then coming straight back down, right in the belly of my hamstring. So again, about 50 passes or another 1 minute on my GoWOD app. From there, I could roll slightly to the right and hit my outer hamstring. Same thing, about 10 to 15 passes. And then after that, I'm gonna roll slightly in. And this is the one that I feel the most, hitting my inner hamstring. So just adding a slight angle. And then as I roll all the way up, I feel a really deep stretch and roll through the inner hamstring, because I tend to like to use my inner hamstrings when I squat. So we wanna make sure that we don't neglect them, we smash them out and we stretch them. So once I finish with both hamstrings, I like to do that on both legs, I'm gonna roll to the outside of my leg, which is my IT band. The IT band is not actually a muscle, but we wanna make sure we're smashing out all of the tissue that the IT band connects to. So if my IT band's thick and it runs right up the side of my leg, I wanna smash the outside edge over here and then the outside edge over here, where it connects to my hamstring and it connects to my quad. So keep that in mind. So when I'm smashing it, I like to kind of think about this wide band that runs down my leg, and then I'm gonna smash the corners. So I'm rolling all the way down from my knee, all the way up to my hip. Whew, it's pretty sticky in some spots, probably from all the running that I've been doing. I'll spend a minute or 30 seconds on one edge, and then I'll rotate my body to get to the front edge, and I'll try to smash the other edge that I talked about of the IT band. Another 30 seconds in this position. We wanna make sure we do that on both legs. So again, just to reiterate, think of this thick band that runs right down the side of your leg. We wanna smash the top edge of the band and the bottom edge of the band to really help with keeping our muscles sliding and gliding the way they should. And a lot of times that'll help us with some of the running pain or pain that we experience in our knee from jumping and things like that. Another great one that we can do with the foam roller is work on our T-spine. So a lot of us, like I talked about in one of my last videos, our shoulders are pulled forward, our chest is really tight, which is really gonna hinder our overhead positions. So for the foam roller, what we can do is we can lay it down on our mat. We're gonna put it right at the top of our back. From there, I'm gonna interlace my fingers, lift my hips, and then open and close. So I'm smashing out all the muscles around my shoulder blades. So what that's gonna look like, I'm gonna take the foam roller, put it right in my upper back, lace my fingers together behind my head, lift my hips, and then I'm gonna open, and then I'm gonna close as much as I can. I'm gonna open, and then I'm gonna close. So the goal is to get your head towards the ground and then tuck your chin. If that's too easy for you, you can leave your hips on the ground, which is gonna make it a little bit harder to get your head all the way to the ground. But what we wanna avoid is completely letting our ribs go. We wanna keep our ribs connected and focus on the mobility coming from our upper spine, which is known as our T-spine. The last one we're gonna work on is our triceps, which is another muscle group that we can stretch it by pulling our elbow behind our head, but sometimes smashing it just feels so good. So this is one of my go-tos, especially if I have a lot of ring muscle-ups or handstand push-ups. Again, either of these balls will work. I'm gonna start with my sidekick tool flex. So I'm just gonna put it on the ground. My elbow, right where my tissue starts, is gonna go on it, and then I'm just gonna roll forwards and then roll backwards. Roll forward, see if I can get a little further, and roll backwards. You can also kind of mess with dropping your arm forward and then pulling your hand behind your head. Dropping your arm forward, pulling your hand behind your head, and then rolling back and forth. I like to spend 1 minute per arm. What that would look like with a lacrosse ball is it's very similar, it's just this is a little bit smaller. It's gonna be a lot more pinpointy because it is smaller, but again, rolling forward and rolling backwards. Elbow comes down, release. And that is really gonna help us loosen up the belly of our tricep and help get some good blood flow and kind of release some of the adhesions that might be forming in our fascia. These stretches are super awesome. Definitely give them a try. You can get a foam roller on Amazon for super cheap if you don't have one, or use the lacrosse ball in place. I hope you guys really enjoyed this. Focus on your breathing. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, comment below on anything else you want to see. Have a great day.